All right, so it's 10:30. We can get started now. Thank you guys for coming. Wasn't sure how well a presentation on promoting Cali would go over, so I'm glad the few of you who showed up did. Thank you for being here. My name is Austin Greathouse. I am the marketing person at Cali. Been there about 5 years now. So let's move on to what's not how you do it. Are people using Prezi? Have you guys seen this before? I figured someone's got to be using it. So this is my first time using it in a presentation, so we'll see how it goes. And that's my last name, and just so you know, that's not anything like how it's pronounced. It's spelled like that, but it's actually pronounced Great House. So it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes your parents mess with you, and in my case, it was by giving me a name that's spelled nothing like it's actually pronounced. So that's it. So in order to, like I said, today we're going to talk about promoting Cali. Basically show you why you should help me do my job, I guess. And in order to market, you need to know the product, of course. And so I'm going to very quickly go through some of Cali's offerings and services so you guys can pass that along when the time comes. Of course, you guys all know the lessons, 875 at this point, interactive tutorials that students can use to learn the law. I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with that. But there are other things, too, that you can pass along to your faculty and students. One of those is ClassCaster, which allows professors to create a blog and podcast and do a lot of great things. Set up a hub for your class that you can do a lot of things with. So I encourage you to check that out. Laudables. One of our kind of newer things where the idea is kind of that a student comes into the professor's office and has a question about a subject, and then the professor explains that subject in 10 minutes or less. So it's just a short audio, and it runs off of ClassCaster too. It can kind of show you what ClassCaster can do, but it's just a short 10-minute podcast about different areas of law. And that is actually at laudables.classcaster.net, if you'd like to check that out. Lib Tour is another new thing we just did. It's ready for the fall. What we did was, you guys familiar with QR codes? I assume they're on the back. Yes, you have a question? Or are you just? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you guys have questions, just raise your hand and let me know. Basically, what we're doing is having law librarians write scripts, and about 2 minutes long. We're taking those scripts, connecting them to a QR code, and then putting it on a poster. So you can put that poster next to your collection, and it briefly describes. So a student comes up, snaps the QR code, and in 2 minutes it briefly describes that collection in your library. So if that makes sense, that's one of our new things. That's libtour.classcaster.net. eLinkDel, you've surely heard a lot about that. The eCasebook project we're working on. Cali.org or eLinkDel.cali.org to check that out. We just put up a list of upcoming books. So if you're interested in what is coming in the pipeline, that's where you can find that. Legal Education Commons is the idea of getting everybody together and sharing their works, sharing their syllabus, sharing their whatever they want to put out there. The librarians, staff, faculty can share that with the legal community. Hope to get that running. And of course, you just got the Free Law Reporter. That's one of our new things we're kind of experimenting with. That's on your flash drive, so you know about that. The other thing I forgot is, of course, this conference. That's the other thing that we need help kind of passing along to, especially faculty who don't hear about it and law librarians, because we think it's a great conference, of course, and you guys are here, you know, so hope you tell some people about that. So the question is why? Why should you do my job? Why should you go out there and tell everybody about Cali, a vendor? Well, we're not a vendor. We're a nonprofit organization. You guys are part of the consortium of law schools. So you guys are part of Cali, but there's a few other reasons. So it's kind of a way, if you're in the library, you're in IT, you can kind of grab hold of Cali because we have statistics, so we know how many students at your school are running. So what you can do is come to us and ask us for those statistics, and then implement some of these things that that I'm going to show you today, just some of these real simple steps. And you can say, hey, the work that I did with Cali brought X amount of students, and the marketing I did and the promotion I did of this showed increased the number of lesson usage by this much. So that's one thing you can do, and then you can brag about that to your to your boss, and but keep it down a little bit. Not that bad. Also, students obviously like this. This is one thing that they get for free. This is one thing where they don't have to pay a bunch of money for outlines, which is what they're doing. They're paying money for outlines. They're paying money for things that kind of help them study. Cali is one of the few things where they don't have to spend any direct money on it. So your students are really going to appreciate it if you tell them about it. And I don't know if any of you guys watch Parks and Rec. Probably not. That's Ron Swanson. I always try to work in. I always try to work in the Swanson Pyramid of Greatness, because there's always some sort of nugget in there that can help you learn. And in this case, it's stillness. Don't waste time moving unless necessary. So the steps that you can do to actually increase usage. I should turn that off. To tell your students and your faculty about Cali, they're very easy. So they would actually meet this hallmark of the Ron Swanson Pyramid of Greatness. One of the steps would be to do something that's easy. So the next thing is, it's your dime. So you got a lot of school, and it's frustrating for us, when a school comes to us and says, well, no one's using Cali, no one's using it. And there aren't a lot of schools. I'm sure all of you guys don't have that problem, or you guys wouldn't be here. But so the thing is, you're investing in this resource, and to not tell your students about it, I think is not the best way to go about it, because you give them this resource, and if you don't tell them about it, they're not going to know about it. They need to hear about it. So another thing is a little more practical. If any of you guys work in IT or the password contacts at your school, you probably get students the day before. I know we do. They don't know who to contact, so they contact Deb and drive her crazy. You get students asking for the authorization code, the day before the test, kind of freaked out. I need the authorization code. I need to run this Cali lesson right now. And, of course, if they're already signed up at Cali, if they already had the authorization code, they wouldn't be bugging you about it. So tell them early, tell them often, and you'll reduce that problem. And next, please, just help us out. We're a nonprofit organization. There's only 6 of us. We're just a small organization. There's well, now we're going to have 7, but it's impossible for us to put a rep at every school, obviously, right? I mean, we need someone at your school to take ownership of that and to take that rep role on in a volunteer way, and help out the community, help out Cali, and help keep Cali strong. So it's your way of helping out poor little helpless Cali and John Mayer. So, what you can do. There's a few steps, and they're real easy to start out with, that you can do to tell students, faculty, staff, about Cali. The first thing you need to do is during orientation, right? We give you guys those authorization code cards, and do you guys pass those out for the most part during orientation, everyone? The authorization code cards, the DVDs. Just make sure you get those to your students, the 1Ls especially, during that orientation time. But, I mean, that's not the only step because students are overwhelmed during orientation. They're getting a lot of information. So that's not the only time you need to let them know. And I actually remember when I was in law school, I did get it during orientation, during a library tour or something like that, and they just kind of handed out the DVD to me. And, well, not even handed it out, they put it in a bag of stuff. And it's, you know, it was liable to get lost in there. Luckily, I found it, and eventually I did use Cali a lot when I was in law school. But, you know, if you don't give an explanation for what this is, what the DVD is, and what the authorization code is, there's a good chance they're not going to actually go to the website and do it because they're just overwhelmed at that time. It's early in law school, so, you know. So orientation, that is the key. Authorization code card, give them the authorization code, and give them the DVD. And that's not the only thing you can do. The next step is actually going to cement it a little bit better. Do any of you guys actually assign a Cali lesson coming in? A few of you do. Which ones do you assign?
Sometimes I assign the Introduction to Search Logic, I think, where they have their Westlaw Lexis training.
Okay, Introduction to Search Law. That's a good one. Did I see you back there? Okay. Oh, very good. Yeah, that's a good idea. There are a couple I always like to hit on that you can just literally assign to everyone coming into law school could probably benefit from taking these lessons. And I just gave an example of some people you might find in law school, plagiarizers. People, you know, that's always a problem. I'm sure you guys have an honor code that your students have to sign, but why not reinforce that with this plagiarism lesson, which was written by Rebecca Trammell. It's a great lesson. Literally every student coming into law school, it couldn't hurt if they took this, right? So that's a great one to assign. The other one is, of course, you know, you get the people who have trouble with spelling, grammar, things like that. And we have a punctuation grammar basics for law school, for law students. So that's another one that's really good. And there's actually an advanced one as well. But I remember going through this, I mean, any law student, even if they're, you know, English majors, could go back through this just as reminders because it's a really good lesson and it helps you kind of remember things about writing that you may have forgotten from undergrad. The other one is the person who has absolutely no idea of what the law is. So, you know, the art history major, the music major, whatever. Deb was a music major, if you don't know. So again, we can do all of those. And we also have one that's called Where Does Law Come From? That's by Diane Murley. It's very basic. I mean, it's... Did you say high school civics level? High school civics level. So any of these three could be assigned to all your students. It would make them go online to Cali. It would make them get their authorization code. It would make them be signed up for Cali. So when that time comes around, exams, when they realize, oh, here's something for free that can really help me, I need to get on immediately, they'll already be signed up. The other step that I suggest as the basic sort of thing that you should do, 2 times a semester are most, we have the most lesson runs. And that is, well, so what you can do is send out some sort of message, actually in as many mediums as you can. Email, Put it on your library, your IT blog. Put it on your Twitter account. Put it on your Facebook account. All those things, you need to mention it to them. And when you should do that is when we have the most usage is very early, like we talked about. So within the first week of class, send out that message. And also during exam week. Or, not during exam week, but as exams are coming close. So they have that information, and they are using Cali lessons and know they're there. So yeah, again, those 2 times are the most important times to mention it in some form with as many things as you can. So now the question is, what do you tell students? Just 3 basic things. The first thing would be that Cali's a thing. It's out there because even if you tell them, people miss emails, people miss your Twitter, your blog. There's no way. You have to tell them over and over. Repetition, right? So there's still people, I'm sure there's 3Ls at your school who have no idea Cali's out there. So you always have to introduce it. Hey, we're a Cali member school. We're providing you with this resource. You should go check it out. It doesn't cost you anything, which is the next thing. So it's real, it's a thing, and it's free. I know you guys pay for it, right? Obviously, as membership, but the students actually don't pay for it. So that's a big thing for students. Probably more likely to go check it out, of course, if they don't have to pay anything for it. And the third thing you should mention to your students is the authorization code. Anytime you send out a message about lessons specifically, you should always include that authorization code. And we don't have a problem with you posting that in an email, on a website behind a password. Really, you can put it out in your library, whatever you want to do. The only thing we ask you not to do is put it up on the website publicly, which is kind of obvious, but that's the only thing we don't want you to do. Other than that, get that authorization code out there as much as you can. And I also have a website, another Classcaster blog, marketing.classcaster.net. I have some form letters up there, which I think Andrew has helped me, right? You've sent some of those along, and I've worked off that. But there's form letters if you don't want to write the announcements yourself. Grab that language, put the authorization code in, copy and paste, you send it off in an email. So that's real easy. And those are the easy steps. Now they get a little bit more advanced. Here's the advanced part of the presentation. So what to tell faculty? They're always tough to crack, right? I mean, it's always, a lot of faculty have embraced it, but sometimes they're hesitant to look at Cali. Well, you guys familiar with lesson text? What this is a complete listing of a lesson with the questions, the answers. The entire lesson is listed out there. So a lot of faculty don't like to do it because it looks like when you go into Cali, the only way to read a lesson is to go into it and run it like a student. But that's not the case. There's a little link on the website, and if you click through the title of the lesson, there's a little link at the bottom that says something like lesson text, or a complete listing of the text in this lesson. So that's one thing you can bring up to faculty, is that there are faculty features that are out there for Cali lessons for you to review them without actually having to walk through the whole, quizzing and branching and things like that. Another important thing that they should know about is a lot of times they go to a lesson and they don't like something about it. Or they don't agree with something, or this question is wrong. So they can actually, and they should contact Deb if they would like to do this, but they can take a lesson and change it around, change the wording of it, create a whole lesson themselves, actually. But a lot of times it's just that, oh, I don't like this one or two questions or this section. What they can do is, or maybe you can help them, or we can certainly help them, is create a customized version of that lesson so they can, what's called auto-publish it. And it creates a link to their own special little lesson with the parts they didn't like out of there and the parts they wanted in there, and their students can run it. So they can customize it in that way. And if you have questions about auto-publish, just contact me or Deb, and we can help out with that. The other thing, and again, this goes to reading a lesson and seeing how it lays out. We have something called Mapper, and that's in. I should probably show you where that link is for lesson text. Let's see if I'm on the internet. Okay. So very, very quickly, if you go into a lesson, or the list of lessons, and you click through, students don't see this, but you guys do. See this note to law teachers? Click here for complete listing. That's where the lesson text is. And then Mapper can kind of help visualize it for, again, only faculty can see this, and staff. So it kind of lays it out. You can see where the branching is going. It's a nice visualization, again, and it's much different than actually running it as a student. And I just kind of...
And the next thing I wanted to bring up was...
That's not coming. So the other thing is, I just want to put a YouTube video in Prezi to see how it worked. This is Lesson Link, which, like it says, it creates a unique URL for your students, and it actually lets you track scores. So that's another thing faculty often want to see. They don't know is there, that Cali lessons, you can track student usage, and so you can know what your student got on the lesson, if they completed it, what questions they answered. So again, very briefly, show you where that link is on the website. Cali lesson link is right here. And if you just tell your faculty to log in, follow that link, it's pretty straightforward once you click the create a lesson link. You fill out that information, push go, and you have a lesson link. Then they take that they take that URL, unique URL, as is, copy it into the syllabus in an email, and send it off to students, and it's actually tracked. So then it shows up for the professor right in my lesson links up here. So again, that's another kind of feature that doesn't get out there to them, and if it's passed along to them, I think they're more likely to kind of use it. So are there any questions about Lesson Link or anything like that?
Can you address the significance of a professor using Lesson Link versus the professor asking a law librarian or colleague to make the Lesson Link for them?
That's very good. Yes. If someone does it, well, let's say you were to set it up for one of your faculty, a Lesson Link. So you set it up with your account. That means the tracking is going to show up in your account. If the faculty member does it and sets it up, it's going to show up in their account on the Cali website. So in other words, if you go through that process and set it up with your username, that means that the professor will have to come back to you to check that. Whereas if you set it up for them or they set it up with their own username, they can check that in their account. So, yeah, question? We get, Deb usually handles more the custom creation of lessons. I don't know how much it is. How often a semester do you think?
We probably get
maybe upwards of a dozen requests a semester. And regarding the ownership, Cali owns all the
Right.
lessons so that we can allow people to customize. And once you customize, we're in effect granting you a license to use our part of the lesson, and your part of the lesson would remain yours, and you're the only one who's distributing it. We're not, the Cali website does not distribute your independently modified and auto-published lesson. Does that help?
Right. Yeah, so when you when you do an auto-publish, it's just for whoever you give the link to, which we assume is just your students. It's not going to be, it's not officially commissioned Cali lesson, so it's not in that listing of lessons. So that was Lesson Link. Again, it's a feature that gets skipped a lot, and it gets missed. So it's a good thing to pass along.
Can you show me where the math thing is?
Sure. Sure, yeah. So we went in here to any lesson from the top here. So there is, it's not here. If you push the play button, obviously it goes straight to the lesson, straight into the lesson. But those features, those extra features you need are actually in the lesson description page, which you can find by clicking that link, the title. Then you have these options down here, and there's this tiny, tiny link, which we've been trying to get get bigger for a while. Click that, and then there's the link right at the top of lesson text. So, you're going to say something?
Is that going to be different?
That is. And that's the other thing. We're going to have a new version. I don't know if any of you were in the session yesterday, but we're going to have a new version of the lessons, and they're actually going to be compatible with iPads, iPhones, and things like that, which has been a problem, obviously, because if you know anything about the Flash doesn't work. We run our lessons in Flash, and Flash doesn't work in iPads or iPhones, which is really frustrating. But we've converted a new version. We've converted everything to a new version, and I should show you where that is right now. So if you go back to that page where you got to lesson text, there is this try the new lesson viewer. I'll just show you very briefly what it looks like. And you can, if you want a complete demo of it, you can go to my session. You can see the archives of it. But it's gonna look a lot different. It's a little more streamlined. It actually scrolls down as opposed to the kind of more 90s idea of pushing over each time. We wanted to avoid scrolling at the time, but we've realized that's something that's normal now. So it looks like that now, and what we have are some faculty options up here. It's actually going to be built in to it. And by the way, we expect this version of the lessons to be available, to be the default by fall. So this is what they're going to look like. And if you have any FAQs out there, obviously you'll need to update your, with screenshots, you'll have to update that. But there's a faculty options link now up here in the top. And one of the options is an outline here. And then Mapper can also show up actually in the lesson. So you can jump around the lesson, see right over to the right there where you're going. And it just goes down. And here's an example of branching. So you can expand that by making it bigger, so you can do that. And again, you can just jump around to lessons. So what we're trying to do is put more the features for staff and faculty actually in the lessons, so they're easier to find and they can run them. And again, students aren't going to be able to see this link. It's just for you guys. The other options here are just a complete listing of alphabetically of lessons, or of the questions in the lesson, and a listing of pop-ups. So, do you guys have any questions about the new version of Cali Viewer? Same content, same stuff, everything's going over, it's just going to look different and have some nice features. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about here. Another resource for you guys is our YouTube channel. We just created a YouTube channel, and I have some help and some FAQ videos up there that cover really basic stuff like registering at the Cali website, and even retrieving your password, because people get tripped up on those little things, and how to also change your account over from a guest account, which is a common problem, to an authorized account. So that's one thing you can pass along to your students if they're having trouble, if they come to you with questions, or if you just want to, in advance of those troubles, include that link into those announcements we talked about, right? So this is how you register for Cali. The handle is just Cali.org. So it's YouTube, Cali.org is our username. And we're in the process of putting a bunch of other conference videos up there, which isn't really relevant to this, but there's a bunch of videos up there. Now we've mostly been talking about lessons, but there's a bunch of other stuff Cali does, right? Like this conference, stuff that we need you guys to pass along. But how do you find out about that? Well, one thing, we send a lot of emails, right? Especially to reps, we try to keep them informed of everything. But still, and I see your guys' stats, so I know what you guys are looking at. I would say not more than 40% of that email gets opened, even to you guys. So there's other ways to keep up, obviously. And if you follow our blog, which is at cali.org/blog, that's where all the big high-level announcements are going to be. There should be an RSS link in it. Let me just pull that up very quickly. If you keep up with, if you have a Google Reader or something like that, go into the Cali Spotlight blog is what we call it. And down at the bottom, there's the RSS link. The other thing to do is this Cali email subscriptions link. So if you're not a blog person, and let's see if these show up. Okay, so if you're not a blog person, if you go to your Cali email subscriptions while you're logged in, you can sign up for this down here, RSS feeds straight to email. So this is something we just added. If you want those blog posts, you can get them in an email as opposed to actually following RSS. And you have several different options there. So there's also the ability to sign up for new and updated lessons automatically. So that's really nice. That's a good way to keep up with what we're doing. Of course, the other ways are social networking. We're on Twitter, twitter.com/Cali.org, facebook.com/Cali.org. You'll get more than the top-level announcements. You'll get all kinds of stuff, updates, reminders if you follow us on there. So those are the ways to best keep up with us. So all kinds of ways. And at this point, I'm going to open up to you guys. Do you guys have anything that you do with Cali that I haven't mentioned that to promote it? Not really? Okay.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
I'll use this fancy mic because I like to. Here's a thing that I've picked up from other faculty. What works at some schools is if you know, particularly with 1L classes, that the whole 1L class is kind of on a gigantic syllabus plot through the semester of torts, for example, you can often send the students emails telling them about particular Cali lessons on a topic just to get the students to realize that librarians know an awful lot of information and can help you more at the law school level than they may be used to at the undergrad. I know a lot of law librarians, they realize the students don't view the law librarian as someone other than the person who sits at the desk and checks out books, which is such a mistake in law school.
Right.
So if you use the casebook correlation tables or the subject outlines, you can quickly key in as to which lessons might be particularly suited to the students. And if your faculty feel that you're overstepping your bounds, a wealth of information and oversharing is sometimes the solution there, rather than a particular lesson. So that's what I see other faculty and law librarians doing.
Yeah, and those casebook correlation, that's right. If you go under lessons, we have the different ways you can actually access lessons. And we have by casebook here, which shows we have a bunch of these that we've keyed to the actual casebook, the most common casebooks that we've been told, at least. So you can take a look at those, and those correspond with pages. Pages match up to Cali lessons. So that's a real nice feature that we have. Also by subject outline, which is just a basic outline of a course, and I just went into business associations, and it's an outline that we've created and what lessons match up to that. So we do have a lot of projects and we have a lot of services and things like that. So I would just say be on the lookout for stuff that's on our blog. That's the most important stuff and also whenever I email reps, pass that along to whoever it applies to. Also do those early announcements. Do the orientation thing with your 1Ls and the early announcements and the close to exam announcements. If you take those steps, you'll see a growth in usage and interest. So, and if you're interested in stats of your school, let us know. And if you want to track those, see what kind of difference you've made, certainly give us an email and let us know. So with that, I think that's it. So unless there are any more questions. Yeah.
I have a question. How many laudables are there now, and what have other people done to try and encourage their faculty to do some laudables?
There are only about a dozen, maybe. I'd say about a dozen. Yeah, we've kind of had a lag we got so many projects going on. But what they've done is, just pass it along, see if they're interested in it. Let them know that it's out there. Show it to them as the resource, and then say, hey, what are we giving as a small amount? Yeah, we give a small amount for people who do write a script for us for the laudables. So.
It says $100 on here.
Okay.
I just think it would be something they would be interested in. I've tried to send it along by, blog, email, Facebook, but it hasn't had any take.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, sometimes it's tough. So just all you can do is show them that it's there, and if they're interested.
As far as the statistics go, Cali's very great at getting you the statistics, and I believe they break it down by that 1L, 2L, 3L level. So when I get that back, I could see where I need to promote Cali a little stronger. And, there's tricks to do. Like Austin mentioned, with the 1Ls, get it in their hand as soon as possible. During our orientation, we hand them the DVD and the card. And, of course, we mentioned something about it. But before the orientation even occurs, we sent a survey out to all the incoming 1Ls, just asking them general questions about the law school. And I always put in, do you know about Cali.org? They don't know about it, I guarantee it. But because that's there, every 1L, wants to get ahead, they're going to visit that site. So before they even come to the orientation, they're already waiting for their Cali material. Yeah,
and you can give them the authorization code early. I think our official stance is June 1st or May 1st?
I can't remember exactly. We could send that out to anybody, but I think it involves a receipt of deposit.
Right. It's either first deposit or either May or June 1st. So you can get it out there early, like Andrew said, and let them know about it early. So, anything else? Any other comments or questions? All right. Well, I think we are done then. So thanks for coming. And if you have questions. If you have any questions, let me know. All of our information's on the website under under, what is it? About staff. So that's how you can get a hold of us, email.
And the stats, you just ask for them? Am I supposed to be?
Yeah, you got to touch the, yeah.
I figured my voice is loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stats.
Yeah, just email one of us, and we'll get it to you. So, yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys.